For the first time under head coach Nick Nurse, the Toronto Raptors are a high-end offensive rebounding team. But how have they done this without giving anything back in their transition defense? We'll take a look right now. I'm Blake Murphy, and this is the Fast Breakdown. Over Nurse's first 3 seasons at the helm of the Raptors, the team ranked 22nd, 23rd, and 19th in offensive rebounding rate. With a little bit of an older roster and a premium on their half-court defense, the team deprioritized crashing the offensive glass. This year has represented a major shift in philosophy. Now younger, longer, and faster, Nurse has empowered his group to gamble for second chance opportunities from all over the offensive side of the floor. The results have been excellent. The Raptors ranked 2nd in the NBA, grabbing 31.1% of their own misses through Monday's games. Among the 13 Raptors to play at least 150 minutes this year, 11 of them are at least average at their position on the offensive glass. Meanwhile, rookies Delano Banton, Scotty Barnes, and especially Justin Champagnie are right near the top of the league in offensive rebounding for their positions. Considering Champagnie is just 6'6", it's no surprise that has stood out to head coach Nick Nurse and earned him more minutes. But this is about more than just personnel. The Raptors are also approaching offensive rebounding with a number of tactics beyond just hustle and energy. Those help them. The Raptors will have players crash from a number of positions on the floor. If a shot goes up from the top of the key, expect at least one player stationed in the corner to crash along the baseline, maybe even out of both corners, and maybe, and this is a little bit more rare, a player to crash from the top through the paint. That's a riskier proposition, but it leaves you in a good position for some of those longer rebounds you often see off of three-point attempts. This has been the strategy even in transition, which is normally a peel-back scenario for the secondary offensive players. On corner three-point attempts, the player stationed in the weak corner is almost always going to crash along the baseline for the Raptors. If there was a screener to free the shooter, you can also expect him to come in from the dunker spot to put a second body on the glass. Fred VanVleet's pull-up game in the pick and roll has become a major weapon for him and for the Raptors. What that allows his big men to do is set that screen, and knowing Fred's probably going to pull up, beeline for the rim. It's similar to how Jonas Valanciunas used to feast on offensive rebounds after setting screens for DeMar DeRozan. Rather than popping for additional space, you know that shot's going up, get in position to rebound, and hey, what's a 45% shot for Fred VanVleet? Maybe becomes a higher percentage look because you're getting 10, 20, even 30% of those rebounds on tip-ins. Perhaps most notably here is the Raptors' patience on scrambles after a shot goes up. Because of their success and the trust they have in their defense to get back, they don't really panic if they don't get the first attempt at the offensive rebound, and they have multiple players below the free throw line either fighting for that ball or stationed ready to pounce if the ball gets kicked out to them. That can leave only one man high to defend against a breakout, but when you have players like OG Anunoby or Pascal Siakam or Scotty Barnes as that one man high, you can put a little bit more faith in their ability to slow an opponent down. Why are the Raptors changing this now? Data over the last 7 seasons suggests most teams who crash the offensive glass do so for one of 2 reasons. They're pretty bad and they need to get easy buckets, or they have the personnel to do so without sacrificing their transition defense. Consider the Raptors a bit of both. There's also a bit of an argument to be made that defenses around the league have gotten a little too complacent on their own glass. Offensive rebounding has dropped dramatically and pretty steadily since the early 90s, bottoming out last season at fewer than 10 offensive rebounds per 100 possessions. If defenses are kind of just assuming the other team won't crash, maybe there's a bit of an opportunity here for enterprising teams like the Raptors to catch defenses napping. What's the cost of crashing the glass? So is it possible to crash the glass aggressively and do so without sacrificing your transition defense? The Raptors' success this year would suggest, yes, it is possible. While the Raptors' defense as a whole has disappointed a little bit, they're the second best team in basketball at keeping the opponent out of transition. We've talked a lot on the Fast Breakdown about how important transition opportunities are to the Raptors' offense. It stands to reason then they'd want to limit those opportunities for opponents. You'd think crashing the offensive glass puts you in a weaker position to defend in transition, but the Raptors have survived and even thrived in that regard. Even narrowing this down to scoring just off of live rebounds, so an offensive rebound that the Raptors crash for and don't get, they're still 3rd in the league at keeping opponents from shooting on the break after they pick up that live rebound. At the heart of this is is their length and versatility. We talk a lot about the Raptors' ability to switch, whether that's in pick and rolls or anything in the half-court defense, really. But this plays up even more in transition. Picture the Raptors trying to run back in transition with one of those lineups where they have 5 guys who are 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" on the court. Does it really matter who grabs who? Probably not. And that allows you to crash the offensive glass and trust that everyone can pick up someone on the way back in transition without leaving a mismatch for the opponent to exploit. The Raptors still have a lot to clean up on the defensive end. Contrary to what we may have expected this year, it's the offense that's snuck into the top 10 and their defense that's been a bit below average. Don't think that one is necessarily causing the other, though. The Raptors have shown over half a season that they can crash the glass aggressively to help juice what's otherwise an average offense without undercutting their transition defense. I'm Blake Murphy, and this has been the Fast Breakdown.